Well, I kind of thought I'd show you what I'm up to right now. Because of guys like Dave Wallace and Jim Waterman and a few others out here on Facebook that build standard gauge cars and engines and kind of kibash them together, make something that wasn't, I kind of decided to try and do the same thing they do, but unfortunately I'm not the skilled craftsman that they are. But it's still fun to work with. So what I'm doing is I've picked up a American Flyer standard gauge gondola. They're a dime a dozen. You can get them anywhere. And I've also got a roof. It's a reproduction, but it is also an American Flyer roof off their boxcar. And what I've done is I'm making myself a covered hopper. All the hatches that you see on there are all handmade. Cut the sheet steel out, the brass. I had hinges, and I soldered it all together and made these little hatches, of all of which work. And that was a bit of a process until I could figure out how to solder, because I'm using galvanized sheet metal. That doesn't solder very well. So you learn how to take the galvanized off, and then I have a resistance soldering unit over here, 250 watts. It's an American Beauty, and believe me, it does a wonderful job. I set up a guide. This guide allows me to put it just so that the holes are exactly the same and spaced on all sides. Then I went ahead and I screwed them on. Now this is not done. This is going to be stripped. This is going to be repainted. This is just stuff that I'm playing with. But I got everything up. I got everything centered, and everything on this rascal works. It's a lot of fun. Well, then I went ahead and we got to modify. I wanted different placards. The color of the car is going to match the 8 million plate. It's going to be red, black, silver, and brass. And what I did was I made placards to fit here. Now here's one of the placards. Whoa! I'll just show it to you here. Here's one of the placards. These will stand on the side, and I'll either use a rubber stamp, or I'll do like I did with my it's not coming through real well. I did with my printer. I printed up a logo, Pennsylvania Railway. Now that one is slightly too big. I've already made another one that's 45% that size, and it fits in here absolutely perfect. So what I'll probably do is I'll probably paint it black, and then either rubber stamp it with that logo, or use the paper stamp and glue it on, and then shellac it, and it will then fit right on here. And you'll bend the tabs. I made tabs, everything fits, everything is centered. So also I wanted to make the trucks a little bit different than what they were. These are the standard trucks on it now, and this is the truck that I'm making. I have an end mill, or let's put it this way, I borrowed an end mill. If you got a $15,000 end mill, you can do stuff like this. And I took and I put leaf springs on it. Those are just regular standard gauge leaf springs. There you can see the holes that I cut in it. And actually you don't need an end mill if you're real good with a drill press, a small drill, and a file. You could cut the slots in it if you wanted to. So this is what I'm doing. I've also modified the underside. I really didn't have to modify anything. I just cut all this out. This will now accommodate both the American Flyer. It will accommodate an Ives coupler and the Lionel coupler on it right now. Nothing was changed. All you got to do is unbolt this, and you can put your couplers on it. So I'm looking forward to getting it all taken care of. The car is going to be stripped, of course, and then I'm going to use kind of a color scheme I like from Ives. The main body is going to be black. The bottom here is going to be trimmed in red, as will the ends. I don't know, I might do black for the steps. I haven't decided yet. Of course, the placards. The placard will probably be painted black in the middle, and if you're wondering why that paint is off there, it's because I was rubber stamping it and then removing the rubber stamp because it didn't look good. So eventually you wear through the paint. That will not be a problem in the future. But it will probably be the red logo on a black ground, outlined by the brass. And on the lids are going to remain basically steel and brass. And then in the center, I've got rubber stamps, and the words coal and coke will be C-O-A-L and C-O-K-E. And the last two doors, of course, will have no lettering on them. So I'm looking forward to getting all that taken care of. I got to see about making a set of ladders for it, and I'm also going to look for some specific type of brake wheels. I would suggest, if you don't mind using production pieces, there's a lot of stuff that's detailed things that are made for F gauge, which is basically the fancy part of G gauge. You can get a lot of lost brass castings, and they complement a standard gauge car just absolutely perfectly. So I'm looking forward to using some of that. I'm trying to keep it as as toy-like as possible, but I don't mind adding a few things, a few accents to it to make it look a little bit better than what it was. But what I am real tickled about is the idea that I can put these springs on here. I think that will look really nice. These trucks will be painted a bright red. Of course, the boxes, the journal boxes, will be tumbled, and they'll be brass, and then the springs will be silver. So this is what I'm up to. I like working on this stuff. It presents a challenge. I found out one thing: you can't do it with just crappy tools. You got to spend some money. I bought myself a Grizzly metal shear. I've already modified it. We put a table of extruded aluminum on it, machined it all in, got it fitted. It still gives me the same distance I want. Plus, I've got a ruler here that goes right to the face of the blade. I've also got hold down clamps. Believe me, it has a tendency to stretch the metal when you cut it. So if you're a 1/4 inch on one end, you're going to be bigger than that on the other if you don't have it held down. I don't mind if we're thousandths of an inch out. I mean, these are toys, for God's sakes. But if you're 100th of an inch out, you can tell it with the eye. So the small imperfections are minor, but so far this Grizzly has been a good buy. So this is what I'm up to, and I'll be looking forward to getting it all finished, painted properly, decaled, and done up, and I'll show you the finished product. Toodaloo.